Namaste, friends. Welcome to Yoga Bliss with Shelly, and I'm Shelly. Welcome to day 28 of this 30-day yoga challenge. Today's practice is inspired to help find inner peace, help us calm our nerves, and of course, always help us move our bodies and tap into ourselves at a deeper level. So grab your mat, unroll it if you haven't already, and if the edges are curling up, I have students who are always saying, I haven't used my mat in so long, my edges are curling up. Well, I use my mat probably 6 days a week, if not 7, and my edges still curl up. So grab yourself a blanket, like a couch blanket, and a pillow for your comfort for throughout the practice. And together, let's do this. Joining me back at the mat. So wherever you are, and Joy is here. Joy is totally here, and we're gonna be the best recorders in the universe because we are the best recorders in the universe. We're gonna scooch-a-roni our Joy puppy out of the way and slowly make your way down onto your back, my friend. Slowly and mindfully. Joy's like, I'm gonna take your spot. Slowly and mindfully. Allowing your back to settle onto the earth. Option to keep bent at the knees here, feet rooted into the earth. If you have hair that might get in the way, moving that out of the way, allowing yourself to settle, to root in through your feet, to root long. Allow yourself to just be. We must first be before we can do anything in our lives. And knowing that is so true, we can't try to have things before, or do things before we can just settle and be within ourselves. Breathing in a calming breath down into the belly and letting it flow out. Option 2 here, you can allow the knees to kind of sink in together, or I'm feeling just like taking a little bit of movement, just slowly. If you have a really thinking full mind right now, you can just take maybe a few tapping of the fingers, allowing yourself to be present with where you are. And I encourage you, my friend, to deepen your breath and allow yourself to hear your breath, to feel your breath. Breathing in a beautiful breath and letting it flow. You can choose your favorite yoga breath. One of my favorites is the complete yogic breath, where we envision our torso in thirds, filling up our water from the belly to the ribs to the top, exhaling from the top to the bottom, to the mid to the bottom, or just taking a nasal breath if that feels good for you. Just tuning into that breath. Letting it rise, and letting it flow. Letting it rise, letting it flow. Setting an intention for your practice of why you're here. For me, it's an intention to find that peace inside, to find that calm. One of my biggest mantras is always working through distractions. And my children may come down here or they may not, because it just depends on the day. So knowing that no matter where you are in your practice, if it's a peaceful, calm environment, or if it's a really distracting environment, know that we can still find this peace within. And we can work through those distractions. Bending in, bringing one knee up to the chest, the other knee up to the chest here. And I have my blanket underneath of my back, you might notice, for a little bit of comfort on the back here. Really lengthening through the spine from the sit bones up to the crown of the head. Finding length within the spine, coming in for an Apamasana, a double wind reliever here. And slowly making little circles with your knees. Slowly side to side, back and forth. Or I like to do this with my children or even practicers in my class. Envision that there's a paintbrush or crayon on your knee, and you get to draw a shape of the sky. And if you're thinking, that's weird, that's not for me, well, that's okay. You don't have to hold that imagery. But for me, I love it. I love holding the imagery of like a rainbow. And you can feel it really in your back, in your core, then try to draw a star and feel the difference between all the different muscles and movements within your body, or maybe a heart, or maybe something more simple like a circle in one direction, a circle in the other direction. Allowing yourself just to tap into what it feels like here in that body. Exhaling one leg long, coming in for a single wind reliever, driving the knee up towards the armpit here. Our hips are on these ball and socket joints, so allowing yourself just to open up at that, slowly rotating, bringing that knee maybe in and across and maybe pushing it forward, using your hand to guide the way with your knee, but using that strength from the core here, just taking it slow, tuning into that knee, letting go of whatever was happening before this, whatever's happening next, just being here, because you're here. Really, all we have is here, my friends, but we often get so trapped in what is supposed to be happening. Maybe grabbing with the opposite hand and taking a soft little twist, allowing this opposite arm to lay long, or having a soft cactus here for a gentle side twist here of the body. And if you want, you can actually give yourself a little adjustment with this shoulder and this knee, just gently pressing into the shoulder and pressing into the knee to make it a little deeper. You can look the opposite direction here for a laying twist, really feeling that twist through the midsection of the body. And you could just feel it just running slightly through the tail. Beautiful work, my friends. Big long breath in, letting it flow, slow and steady, tapping into that calm, and slowly and mindfully coming back to center. This is one of those ones that sometimes my back gets a little sharp pains, so just kind of resettling and slowly and mindfully hugging both knees in, giving yourself a little hug, tucking in at the chin, exhaling down, big breath in. Maybe holding for a moment and letting it flow. Slowly and mindfully lengthening the opposite leg down long to the earth. Envisioning there is a wall, an invisible wall for where your feet are. And keeping an active foot by opening up the foot, spreading the toes wide open, creating more of that Shakti. This is this energy that is within us, so we can cultivate it by actually even small things like spreading our fingers, opening our arms up, really connecting to ourselves in our anahata, our spiritual heart here. And taking a moment to do what feels good for you, driving that knee up towards the same side of the armpit, or maybe just rotating and tuning into that ball and socket joint that feels so good. And if you take it in one direction, slow it down and go in the opposite direction. It feels so good, just really feeling that you can feel it through the hamstrings and the glutes, the hip flexor. This is a really good one. It feels amazing. Taking that slow and steady, my friends. Cultivating that calm, that cool, with that breath. Breathing in peace for yourself. Exhaling peace into your surroundings. Beautiful work. Slowly and mindfully coming to center, using the core, and softly with the opposite hand, grabbing and twisting at the spine, keeping the shoulders as flat as you can on the earth here. Option 2, if you do have that pillow, you could take that pillow, bringing that knee to the pillow. My shoulder is significantly popping up, so I'm going to keep my knee up a little bit here. Doing that self-adjustment if you choose here, taking the opposite arm, shoulder, big breath in, gently pressing. You can press at the knee or pressing at the hip here. When you press at the hip, you can really feel it. It feels so good. Big breath in, letting it flow, breathing in that peace. Releasing that peace, my friends. Good work. Just allowing yourself to be, to let go, to trust in the process of life, slowly and mindfully through the core, bringing back to center, pressing the feet into the earth here, rooting to those 4 points, and tuning into the feet where the feet are, if they're too far forward or way too far back. Usually for this next movement, we're going to go into a bridge here. The feet want to be not too far from the middle finger here. Tuning into the thighs, the hamstrings, on the inner hamstrings, all actually corseting around all of your hamstrings. We have 5 of these huge hamstring muscles that wrap all the way around our thighs, which are these incredible muscles here. Envisioning also that corset of core strength that comes all the way from around, tuning into the glutes, squeezing in, up towards the ceiling here. Big breath in option to keep the hands down here. Really tuning into those feet. Doing your best to grow up the chest, bringing it in towards the chin, really rooting the shoulders into the earth here. Option to bend here. Option to take a little deeper for a bind, palms kissing palms here. Really pressing and opening up the heart of the front body, compressing at the shoulder blades at the back. Really feeling this in the strength, the muscles in the back body and the hamstrings and the glutes. I'm feeling it everywhere. It's feeling so good. Really growing up. If you can, arching that spine, or if you need to stay down here, this is okay too. Softly exhaling down to the earth. Just feeling what that feels like within your body. Slowly and mindfully inhale, raising up. Growing. And if you have that pillow, I encourage you, grab that pillow. If you don't have a pillow, you can stay raised up here. We're going to put that pillow right near our sacrum in between our back here. I have a smaller pillow. This is actually a meditation cushion. Exhale slowly, allowing that to float. Option here also is to take a block here. This is called a supported bridge. I cannot remember. Setu Santa Sarvangasana. I think that's right. It could be wrong. I'm doing really good with my Sanskrit, friends. Sanskrit is my jam. I'm just allowing that spine to feel rested here in this supported bridge, which feels good. And you can have the option, if you are supported, to take a soft little windshield wiping of the legs here. Just taking it slow and steady with your body. Just being where you are. Tapping into that inner peace. That calm by affirming to ourselves, I am calm. I am peace. I am surrender. I am surrender. I am happy. I am healthy. I am love. It's one of my favorite affirmations. I am love. Feeling what that feels like inside. Option here to bend at the one knee. We're going to come in for a variation of an up the wall here. Bringing that leg gently up, bending at the opposite, using the strength of the core. You can stay up on the pillow or you can actually rest down on the earth here, whatever feels best for you here. Opening up the legs wide like a V. This is called Viparita Karani. Legs up the wall here. Some people can take this with a full straight. Like, I need a nice bend, and that's just what feels good in my body. So doing what feels good for you, using that strength from the core, keeping the feet pressed like they're pressing up high to the sky. Inhaling, bringing the feet together, using that strength of the core. Exhaling, pulling them long and wide. You can bring your arms open wide. You can even involve your arms in this if you would like to. Crossing. Taking some loving, peaceful breaths in. Letting them flow. Big, loving breaths in. Giving yourself a little hug here. Letting it flow. Being okay with wherever you are and what it's feeling like. And if you need to just stay static and still, You could keep your legs here, maybe bringing the hands to heart center or to the core to help ground you, help you keep peaceful within. You're doing an amazing job. Exhaling the legs long and wide. Inhaling. And taking a few bicycles here. So slowly just pedaling out your bicycle. Using that strength of the core. Strengthen, strengthen, strength of the core. Really tapping in to that core strength, to the glutes, the quads. Just tapping into the movement, just taking it slow. It's not a race. Yoga is not a perfect, it's a practice. I almost said, it's not a practice, it's a perfect. No, it's not. That's what we think that it is. That's our ego telling us that. You have to be perfect in everything you do, but all you have to do, my friend, is show up. When you show up, you're here for yourself, you're already there. Exhaling, backpedaling, taking that slow and steady, tapping into that inner peace, slow and mindfully. Allowing that body to really tune in. My body's like, this is feeling good, I'm feeling warm. My core is feeling really warm and really active, really turning in that core, activating. Who thought that you could just move your legs and do core work, right? You would think that you would have to do all these crunches. I personally am not a huge fan of crunches, and that's why I love yoga, because you can activate your core in most every pose. If you're doing yoga right, if you can engage those bandhas, find that zip of the intersection, zzz, that core is active and on. Taking a moment to find a little stillness here. Exhaling. We're going to slowly roll to the side here for a moment. And take a moment if you need to. And I'm going to roll up my blankie. And I want you to roll up yours too. Woo! Taking a moment if you're feeling a little, woo! Getting a little free one. Dizzy. That's okay. I always feel like those are big signs from ourselves, like saying, what you're doing is working, but pay attention. So taking a blanket, I encourage you, if you have 2 blankets, which I actually do have a second blanket that I'm going to grab real quick, my friends. I'm not leaving you. I'm right here grabbing a second blanket. This is for, we're going to go into a candlestick variation. And we're going to do shoulder stand here and halasana, the plow pose. So the reason why we want 2, you always want to have blankets, and 2 blankets you want to have because you can actually hurt your cervical spine immensely. I've done this when I first started practicing. I would do this all the time without blankets, and I would jack up my neck and my shoulders for days. So please do not do this unless you have 2 blankets, and fold them nicely. Make them wide as your mat to fit your shoulders. Just slowly and mindfully, or you can try pillows. I've tried pillows, they get a little squishy, I found. Slowly and mindfully rolling yourself back to the mat. So the goal here is to create the space with our cervical spine here, allowing that neck to rest here. So tuning into it and maybe just taking a moment to feel what it feels like in your body. We're gonna come up into this pose using your arm as a shoulder, your shoulders and your elbows as a kickstand here. So taking it slow, letting go of like, oh, I don't know how to do this. And if you need a wall, my friend, what you can do to help you learn how to do these is actually you can go up to a wall and try to kick and walk up the wall if that's what you need, because I've definitely been in those places where I needed that. Option here too to have a chair, which I have right here. We can have a little chair for our plow. If you are new to plows, chairs are a great option to have right there. You can see that because I'm the best recorder in the world, my friends. Awesome sauce. Okay, friends, so slowly getting down, lengthening on that, finding the space in between our shoulders. That is like our feet, because in yoga, whatever is going to be on the earth is what is like our feet connecting us to the earth. So slowly using that core engagement and kick standing up. So kick standing to whatever feels good. You can slowly walk the arms in and make sure there's that space on that neck here.